Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. Mishnah Yomi continues in the third parak of Orlah. Yesterday we begun the third parak by saying that a beged, a garment that was dyed using color derived from Orlah, has to be burned according to Rabbi Meir because it's chashuv, could be batel according to the sages. Now here we are in Mishnah Bet in the third parak. Hatzovea milo hasit biklipe orla. Somebody dyes a thread, and this thread is as long as a seat, and he's using the shells of Orlah, for instance, red pomegranate shells. Now this seat is a specific measurement. The Bartner explains it's from the ama le'etzba, which means between the index finger and the middle finger when you spread them out as far as you can, like you're opening up your hand wide. The Bartner brings there's also something called the sit kaful, which is from the thumb to the middle finger, which apparently is double that measurement. So anyway, this guy dyed this thread using Orlah, which of course is Asur bHanaa ragu bebeged, and he sewed this into a garment, and he doesn't know exactly where this one problematic thread ended up in the garment. Rabbi Meir Omer Yedolik beged. You have to burn the entire beged. Chachamim Omer Yole be'echad metayim. The Chachamim say it can be batel if the volume against this thread, remember the sit was the minimum. It could be a longer thread, but if there's more threads in this beged, 200 more threads in this beged, then technically the sages say it could be batel. Rabbi Meir says again, like yesterday, this thing is now chashuv. You have this thread, which is a minimum measure, and it's a measure the Chachamim use for ariga on Shabbos, to be chayav malacha on Shabbos, and it's been dyed with something else, bHanaa, so he says it's chashuv and it's not batel. Mishnah Gimel, ha'orig malo asit mitzamar bachor bebeged. So now he has this malo asit of thread, but it's not dyed, Rabbosai, it's from a bachor. Now a bachor is a firstborn animal, and it's given to a Kohen, and lechatchila the Kohen brings it as a korban and eats the meat. If it's a balmum, the Kohen's allowed to eat it as a barbecue in his backyard, but in any event, he can't cut off the wool, the hair. He can't use the hair. That's Asur. So here he's using this Asur hair in the beged. Yedolik habeged. You have to burn the beged. Umisar hanazar. If you used hair from a nazar, umipeter chamor, or hair from a firstborn donkey, basak, and he's using this to make sackcloth. Yedolik hasok. You have to burn up the sackcloth, because the hair from a nazar, after his nazirus is over, has to be burnt. When they prepare his karbanos, they throw the hair under the shlamim, and they burn it in the fire, cooking up the shlamim, but it can't be used otherwise. The peter chamor is the firstborn donkey. Famously, there's a ceremony to switch the kedusha of a firstborn donkey onto a sheep. But if he doesn't redeem the firstborn donkey, he has to do arifa on the firstborn donkey, like an egla arufa. He has to kill it. And just like an egla arufa is Asur bHanaa, so too the peter chamor that was not redeemed but instead was killed is also Asur bHanaa. If you want to dig deeper, there are reasons. The donkey is the only non-kosher animal that has some sort of kodshim status, with the bechor at least. There's some people who say this is in return for the donkeys schlepping out the wealth of Mitzrayim with Am Yisrael when we left Mitzrayim. But there are a lot of deeper reasons. You can get into that if you are a fan of firstborn donkeys. Mishnah concludes of mukdoshin, and for holy items like kodshim, mekadshim kol shechen. Any amount is mekadesh, because there's a special sanctity to kodshim. We are especially stringent. They are chashuv, and they are not batel. You'll notice in this Mishnah, in Gimel, we didn't mention Rabbi Meir. The Yerushalmi apparently says that this Mishnah is also according to Rabbi Meir only, that these things are not batel. But other Mefarshim say no, the sages would agree here, because this isn't simply string that's dyed, where Rabbi Meir is machmer, but these things are inherently, by themselves, without any dye, any additives, these are Asur bHanaa. Shkoyach Rabosai Tizku L'Mitzvot.